Big good one here, and eventually we will. So like, subscribe, share, circulate that video. Give me a like to rank up my channel so people can see that video better. But here, there's a lot of rumors about Charlie Cox's Daredevil, which fantastic Daredevil, absolutely hands down spectacular. You can't do that role any better. I can't see it. He set a very high standard. The Netflix series set a very high standard for Daredevil, as iconic as Heath Ledger's Joker or Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or Wesley Snipes' Blade. He set a very high standard that it would be really tricky for anybody else to live up to. So there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors that he may reprise his role and return as Daredevil. There are rumors about Hulu, his show being reprised on Hulu, or him possibly actually showing up in Spider-Man 3, which would be very tricky because Spider-Man keeps getting pushed back. Spider-Man 3 has been pushed back to late, like November 2021, I think, by now. I can't remember the exact expiration Netflix has on Daredevil. But once that expiration's lifted, I know it's 2 years after the series ended. I can't remember exactly when it ended, but it's highly likely they could cram him in there last minute, and people suspect that he's in. Even though he himself has confirmed that he's not, people suspect he may be in there because there's a role for a lawyer in Spider-Man 3 as Peter Parker's trying to clear his name and prove that he's not Spider-Man, or he's not guilty of whatever crimes they're saying he committed. And that's a classic team up right there. Spider-Man and Daredevil is a really classic team up. They even have that DVD of Daredevil and Spider-Man from the 90s series where they team up. But it's highly likely that that lawyer is going to be somebody like She-Hulk, even though She-Hulk and Spider-Man have no strong ties. She-Hulk series is supposed to release in 2022, I think, on the Disney Plus channel. So it's highly likely that it's just her. But Charlie Cox said himself that he hasn't heard anything, he doesn't know anything. So if there was a Matt Murdock in there, a Daredevil, it's not him. It's a different version. And if it's a different version of Matt Murdock in there, it's just not going to work because you can't. The series did not leave a bad taste in anybody's mouth. It was just abruptly canceled, despite the fact it was incredibly good and incredibly strong. It was caught, you know, just caught in the crossfire of the war between Netflix and Disney. And we, as the fans, got hit. We were casualties. So there is a chance that I just can't see them putting a different Matt Murdock in there. If they did, I think it wouldn't go over so well for the movie, for one. But also at the same time, to introduce this version of Daredevil in Disney's, lighthearted, all flash, very comedic, lack of substance movies that the MCU is known for. Daredevil was a character of a very faithful adaptation of a character that runs in darker circles, a Marvel Knight. It would be really tricky to have him in there, and I mean, you could do it without the violence. I guess you could put him in there, do it without all the ultra violence, and then just let him reprise his show or continue on with movies. The Daredevil actors aren't really doing anything right now, and the actress that played Karen Page recently discussed how she's afraid she's just gonna kind of disappear in the wind because there's a short time frame to bounce back there in Hollywood before you're forgotten. But I think it would be interesting. I don't like these Disney Spider-Man movies at all. But if it brings Charlie Cox back as Daredevil, I would definitely be down for it. I would definitely be down for it. It could lead to him getting his own movies or show back on Hulu. It would be pretty great. It would also give Kingpin, Daredevil Vincent, who played Kingpin on Daredevil, a spectacular job. It would give us a chance to see Spider-Man go toe to toe with Kingpin, team up with Daredevil, go up against Kingpin. It would be pretty amazing in my opinion. Even though I don't like the Spider-Man, I would definitely go check it out for that. Yeah, but aside from that, there's a lot of speculation that his show could just come back on Hulu, but there's no confirmation of that either. So it's a long shot either way. There's an article over Bounding in Comics if you want to check that out. That discusses it. It gives all the details, but it doesn't really confirm anything or really deny anything. It's just like it ends up pretty much with the same summary that it's a long shot. It's it's a long shot either way. But Daredevil was such an incredible show that set such an exceptional standard for how comic books could be done. It's very different than the rest of the MCU as we know it. It's got a lot of depth. If you haven't seen it, you should really check it out. I urge you to check out the Daredevil series. Eh, it was a shame when it ended. Such a fantastic show, man. I can't praise that show enough, or the work the actors did. It's also highly possible that it could be Foggy Nelson that pops up in the Spider-Man movie. Uh, but if it is a different version of Matt Murdock, I don't really see it going over so well because see why I don't like this Spider-Man. A lot of people do, but he has done a fair. It's not really him that I don't like about the movies. It's the surrounding cast and the large absence of iconic Spider-Man scenes, such as swinging around through New York and just all kinds of things this Spider-Man is missing. Uncle Ben and all that. But this Spider-Man, you know, when the Andrew Garfield version of Spider-Man ended with that Amazing Spider-Man 2, a bad taste was left in people's mouths, a bad impression. It was an awful film. So people were quick to accept the new Spider-Man, especially at the thought of him mingling with all these other Marvel heroes on screen. That's something a lot of fans have longed for. So, in my opinion, it was easy to accept that. But to accept a new person playing Daredevil when nobody wanted that Daredevil to show to end. Well, maybe some people, but a very small number of people. Nobody wants to see this guy replaced that quick. People want to see him come back. They want to see where this story goes, and they want to see it get a proper end. And I know people really want to see that Bullseye come back, so they can see him fully costumed up and all that. But this is an keep your fingers crossed on this one. Who even knows? At the rate Disney is losing money, who even knows what's really going to work out for them or not? Because I've been paying attention, and Disney is really losing money, and they're not going to be able to go back to the way things were instantly. They make a good chunk of money from their theme parks, and even if that stuff does end up reopening, it's going to be a while before people start to flood the gates. Anyways, that's the video there. Let me know your thoughts. Comment down below. I want to hear your opinions on, getting Charlie Cox back or potentially somebody else playing Matt Murdock. What would you think of that? Are you as resistant to the thought of that as me? What would you think of actually seeing this Daredevil and that Kingpin cross over with this Spider-Man? What are your opinions on that? Would you like to see this Daredevil, get his own movie or his TV show back, reprised, picking up where it left off over on Hulu? I think a lot of people are like me. They want to see this Daredevil back any way they can get him because they did a hell of a job on that series. They did a hell of a job. Credit where credit is due. Anyways, that's the video. Like, subscribe, share, circulate that. Give it a thumbs up, rank it up. Stay awesome. Rock on.